Good afternoon, folks. This is Kimberly J. Bowles reporting in live today from Pink Carpet Celebrity Lifestyle Magazine, as well as Kimpire World Magazine. And I'm really happy today that we have with us Karen Langhorne, author of the worldly acclaimed controversial book called Don't Bring Home a White Boy. And Karen, if you want to hold that book up so we can take a look at it. And folks, I really urge you to get this book. It's an awesome book. Karen was just recently on CNN as well as Essence.com, and she's addressing the issues that is really hitting the mainstream news about black women and interracial dating. And Karen, please share with us. We first want to welcome you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us today. And I really want to, ask you, what was it like when you were being interviewed with Essence Magazine? What was that like?
I talked to a lovely reporter, a young lady, who admitted that she lives in New York City with a house with an Asian girl and a white girl, and they all date everyone. And she is of Caribbean descent, and she says, from where I come from, this is less of an issue. I don't understand why so many of my black female American sisters have such a hard time with this concept. So she wrote her piece, which is very supportive, and posted on Essence. And then, in response, I got a lot of commentary from Essence editorial board who felt the need to write competing blogs saying, oh, we're sick of hearing about this already. Black women don't need to be told who to date. I prefer my chocolate, on and on. So I was a little surprised that on the one hand I'd had such a positive interview with the reporter who talked with me, and then such a negative sort of backlash response from the community. And I guess I shouldn't be so surprised, because one of the reasons that I wrote the book to start with, and the full title is Don't Bring Home a White Boy and Other Notions That Keep Black Women from Dating Out, is because as a group, black women are the most loyal to black men, loyal to their race of women of any culture. Mm-hmm. We do not date out. We resist it. We have problems with it. And it's because of notions like being told as young women not to bring home a white boy, that it was okay to go to school with them and okay to work with them and okay to live in their neighborhoods. But at romance, we draw a very firm, very hard line, even when that's contrary to our interests, even when black men are dating out at 3 times the rate that we are,
right,
and further limiting the pool of available black men.
So, do you promote black women dating out of their race?
I am a strong advocate for women putting the man's qualities and character above everything else, including race. So yes, I think black women should date out, but I don't look at it as, oh, get you a white man. I look at it as, date a man who is compatible to you and for you, who treats you well, who has all of the qualities and characteristics that you value in a man. And if he's black, wonderful. If he's white, wonderful. If he's yellow, brown, purple, striped, I don't care, as long as he's a good man and that he's good to you and for you. I think our black-only mindset has limited us in ways that sometimes make some women accept treatment that is not in their best
or
interest.
share men.
Or share men.
Or cheat with men, or creep with men, or have booty calls, or have children out of wedlock.
Absolutely.
And the statistics go on.
That's right, and none of that is good for us. None of that is good for the community.
Because that's really not what we want.
And none of it's good for black men in the final analysis. It's not good for anyone.
So I see a statistic that says even if black men were to, strictly date only black women, there would still be 1 million less black men.
Almost 2 million.
Almost 2 million.
Yes, almost 2 million. Even if every single black man and every single black woman were to marry each other tomorrow, there would still be almost 2 million black women left, about 1.8 million.
And why is that pool so small? Is it because some of them, are passed away, deceased, prison? Why do you think that that's the case?
I don't know why that's the case. I don't know whether we just have a higher female birth rate. I do suspect that certainly, right now the number one killer of young black men is young black men.
Right.
So we do have a problem with, losing almost a whole generation to street violence, or a lot of a generation to street violence. So that's certainly a factor. But even if you were to count every incarcerated black man in that number, you would still have 2 million left over, but you can't count all of the men who are incarcerated. You can't count the men who are gay. You can't count the men who
Wow.
are mentally or physically disabled.
Right.
So, the pool just gets smaller and
Right.
smaller. And we do have to add that, of course, there are women who are gay, there are women who are incarcerated too, but ratio-wise, there's an imbalance.
So what would your advice be to a black woman that is like tired of waiting? She's educated, she has money, she's done well for herself, she's lived a life of integrity, and she really wants to get married. And she's tired of waiting for a black man. What would your advice be to her in wrap-up?
In the simplest terms, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So if you want to try to get a different experience with men, you may have to put yourself in some new situations. And by that I mean you may have to travel, you may have to go places that you don't normally go, you may have to branch out, learn a new language, take up a new activity, a new sport, go on a website that seems to be more catered to men of other backgrounds and other cultures. All of these things are ways that women can expand their horizons, reach out to men of other cultures, and see what comes back to them.
And in wrap up again, and you ended up marrying someone that's not your race, correct? And having children.
I am married to a wonderful Irish-American man. We have a daughter together. We've been married for 5 years. We have a sweet little 4-year-old who is a biracial child who we do our best to instill with all aspects of her heritage. And I have to say that, for us, because we are compatible in interests and qualities and values, race is something that comes up from time to time, but not nearly as much as you might expect.
Well, I'm glad that this issue is being brought to the forefront because I'm personally tired of hearing about how black women are single, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just really excited that, that people are starting to recognize and saying, hey, you don't have to be single. There's over 1 million men on the planet. Get out there and, see what else is out there, and don't limit yourself to one particular person, race, or anything. And it's not about bashing a particular race. It's really about really expanding your options and seeing what else is out there. So I'm really happy that you took the time to come to Los Angeles and be with us here today on the West Side.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I enjoyed the wonderful discussion that we had today and the wonderful dialogue and the sisterhood that we had. And folks, if you don't know, I think you do now, I suggest you go ahead and pick up a copy of the book, Don't Bring Home a White Boy, which is a farce. Check it out, read it, and it's by Karen Langhorne. Read this book, it's awesome. I'm excited about it because I did bring one home, and that's another story on another day. So Kimberly J. Bowles reporting in live for Kimpire World Magazine and Pink Carpet Celebrity Magazine. Have a great day. Ladies, open yourselves up and explore your options and get this book. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too, Kimberly.